It's been 6 months since a devastating earthquake hit southern Turkey and northern Syria, leaving over 50,000 dead and 1.5 million people homeless. Turkey's President, Erdogan, has vowed to build hundreds of thousands of new homes for those in need. But months later, many are still living in tents and other temporary accommodation. While in Syria, the relief effort has been obstructed by the ongoing war. I'm joined by Oben Çoban from Save the Children in Turkey. Thanks for coming on the programme. Now, buildings severely damaged, lack of clean drinking water. Tell us about the problems people in Turkey are still facing 6 months after those devastating earthquakes.
Yeah, unfortunately, the 6th month of this crisis is showing us that 890,000 buildings across 11 provinces are required in rebuilding or repair. Hospitals, schools, and all other infrastructure has been damaged, and eventually we are talking about 3 million people who are still living in containers, tent cities, and who are out of their homes. On the other hand, what we see is education, like 4.1 million students have been impacted by the disruption to the education. So the scene is extremely wild, and what we also see is an extreme situation of trauma and potential facing lifelong development impacts are being suffered by children and those families at the moment. The dire need of the situation, dire impact of the situation on the field is actually reminding us that this earthquake is still not over. Yeah. Yes, it's fading out from the news mostly, but those needs are still there. And now with all temperatures rising over 40+ degrees, due to the heat waves, due to the lack of access to sanitation, hygiene, and other facilities, we are also very concerned about the potential health problems that might be suffered by those people in the area.
So in terms of the cleanup, is it happening fast enough? Is it happening safely enough?
I think it's very important to put one thing here, which is we're talking about an earthquake that impacted like 11 provinces at the same time, over a 500-kilometer belt. So the calamity and devastation we are facing here means it's quite unprecedented. So I really don't know what it can be compared with. Thus, in that regard, looking at the issue from the humanitarian perspective, yeah, of course, those people, 3 million living outside, they require urgent help as soon as possible. So it's not, and it can never be fast enough. But on the other hand, it's a huge loss and destruction. World Bank was guessing $104 billion of destruction is currently the case within those 11 provinces. So it's definitely going to take time.
Now, lots of promises for financial aid and for resettling were made into the run-up to elections earlier this year. Are those pledges being kept?
Well, we had this Brussels conference later this year, and also in other meetings where we tried to hear from international donors about those bids. I think we need to be very open and honest about the fact that more support is needed. During the first months of the earthquake, it was okay. We were just, managing to get by everyone, and every bid was open. That's fine. But at the moment, what we see is we are not living up to our promises. And looking at the sheer devastation in the field, I think more international support is definitely needed. So, yeah, those bids needs to be verified.
So much more to talk to you about, but we've run out of time. Oben Çoban from Save the Children, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.